That's right, my friends, Bad Blood 2024 has arrived, and actually, there is a lot on the line here. Specifically, how we see the Hell in a Cell going forward. CM Punk has spoken about this recently on a podcast, and over the last 20 years, it has become a little bit of a Tonka toy, and we need to bring it back to 1997 when we were like, oh my gosh, this is the worst structure ever, and two wrestlers got in the thing and basically killed each other. It also turns out this actually ties into the biggest rumor we've had in a while when we are talking about pay-per-views or PLEs, so go put your tuchus in a chair. Let's get into it right now. Because yes, right, this main event, which is meant to be the Hell in the Cell, apparently is no longer the main event, even though it's been planned as the main event since about August. Now, everybody was talking about this too, and all of a sudden the rumor mill did kick into gear, and they were like, well, actually no, the main event, the last match we see on the show, is going to be Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns taking on that newfangled bloodline. And look, I totally get this. Having a modern team that is basically the mega powers is more than worthy of closing a show. When it comes to CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, they have done so much good work with this feud that it kind of feels like they should be the main event. And also, do not forget, the name of the damn show is Bad Blood, because we have a feud that we need to finish, and sometimes people don't call it a feud, they call it, these two people have bad blood. However, when we go back to these murmurs, apparently something huge is going to end this pay-per-view premium live event, and therefore, the Hell in the Cell match may be first. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was any other performer on that show and you told me that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre were going to kick off the thing, and let's say I drew the number 2 position, I'd be like, well, I'm totally flubbed up. Now everybody's going to think I suck. So when we do get into the nitty gritty, you have to figure that maybe the final boss, or The Rock, is coming back to WWE, which actually also ties into the Pat McAfee show, because Cody Rhodes was a guest on there, and WWE put out some very interesting clips with Pat McAfee saying, oh my gosh, the big guy's coming back, and Cody Rhodes being like, oh, what does that mean? When we also got told that we're going to get a video somewhere, or somebody has a video, so all these little tidbits are flourishing through the online space. Rhodes even went on here and said there are going to be huge ramifications after this thing, which will indeed feed directly into Crown Jewel, which happens in November. Now my guess is The Rock is going to come back, be it in video form, and basically tell us come January when we move to Netflix, he'll be back for good, as if he's going to take that song. And he's also probably going to be super duper pissed at Roman Reigns, because why are you teaming with that guy? Cody Rhodes is our enemy. I would also say that Rocky is going to be behind the Bloodline 2.0, though we will not find that out this weekend. And just to throw some more logs on the fire, when we get to Saudi Arabia, I think we're probably going to do Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns round 3. So I'm getting a little bit carried away, and before we do go on, remember that health and happiness is way more important than wrestling, but it does feel like this is a Jimmy Uso situation, and it also kind of feels like he should have been back by now, and then we remember that very strange tweet that Rikishi made. So look, seriously, I genuinely hope he's alright. But if that is the case, and we have had to hit pause on Jimmy returning to team with Roman Reigns, and we've got to do another pivot, that would explain why The Rock may be potentially appearing in video form and not in person. Because if you had this plan from months and months ago, surely Dwayne Johnson would have made his way to Atlanta, Georgia to be there live, where now it's like, oh my gosh, we've got to do something, so we're going in a brand new direction. Rocky, can you please push record on your video device? It also explains why we could potentially be doing Roman Cody again, even though surely you would imagine you'd hold that off for a WrestleMania. I mean, it's got the juice. If all of this is true as well, maybe we're actually going to shelve the Bloodline Civil War in War Games at Survivor Series, because I would imagine, as cool as it would be to get Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens and Randy Orton teaming up, you want there to be a Jimmy Uso and you want there to be a Jey Uso. And when we started fantasy booking all of this, that was the kind of stuff we were super duper excited about. It just feels like Roman Reigns would need his OG team, so just to repeat myself, maybe we are doing a little bit of shuffling here, which is why the main event at the Hell in a Cell is now match 1, because the very last thing you are going to be on Saturday night is seeing The Rock going, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, and then probably dropping the F-bomb. So it all suggests it would be a last-minute decision, and of course in the comments below, you can certainly argue what the main event should be. I do think it would be a shame for CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, but at the same time, The Rock is The Rock, and you'd have to imagine whatever we do here is going to lead into WrestleMania 41, There ain't nothing bigger than WrestleMania. I would also have to guess this means Cody and Roman are losing, probably because Roman accidentally hits Cody, then Cody takes the pin, which would lead to their match in Saudi Arabia. But also, when you do stick it in your brain, we have Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu on the other side of the ring. Right now, Jacob Fatu shouldn't be losing, even if it's somebody else that takes the pin. I mean, that guy's on fire. So I have no idea how we're going to tie this into the probability rating, so let's just focus on it right now. Will The Rock be at Bad Blood? I'm going to whack a 9 out of 10 probability rating meter on my thingamajig that just is over there, because sometimes there is no smoke without fire. And I tell you right now, there's a lot of smoke. Also, it's the only thing that could justify moving CM Punk and Drew McIntyre out of the last match. I mean, if we're just doing it for shibs and giggles, that's a terrible, terrible mistake. As for Cody and Roman Part 3 happening, I'll put a 7 out of 10 onto that, just because it seems so gargantuan. We don't have that much time to build it. And when it comes to the Bloodline 2.0 getting the victory, I am going to say 10 out of 10. Now that makes no sense, because how can I be so sure? Well, I searched my tum-tum and my feelings. That's just what I think. Because this has dominated the news cycle so much too, there isn't really anything else to talk about, other than the fact Rhea Ripley may not actually be winning the Women's Championship back. I think this just comes down to the fact that because Dominic Mysterio is involved and he'll be hanging from a shark cage, you can do the old traditional stereotypical thing where he drops a weapon to Liv Morgan, and she is able to use that in order to screw over Rhea, and then we get to a third match probably at the Survivor Series. And this kind of does work for me, because Liv and Dom are such a good act. If they continue to be absolute dickheads, well, they're just going to get booed even more. It also means that the next pay-per-view, Rhea Ripley can win her championship back, and then 2025 is also upon us. We can just choose a new direction for both of them. So I will say 7 out of 10. But honestly, the good thing about this program is Liv can win, and Rhea Ripley can win, and Dominic Mysterio can be an absolute buffoon. And because they totally get their characters, you can absolutely make it work. If we do cycle back to this main event too, well, there may actually be even more here. Because maybe the reason we are going to shove it in the main event is because WWE has gone, oh my gosh, when it comes to the Bloodline, we love going pure cinema, as the kids say. So all this talk about Jimmy Uso, maybe he just comes back at Bad Blood instead, as does Paul Heyman. Then you really are setting the scene for Survivor Series. And you can still totally do the Rock stuff here, but then you have gone balls to the wall, which once again would justify it even more. I mean, it all depends on the reason as to why we are doing it. So I shall whack a 7 out of 10 on that, which just totally breaks my system, because now I'm basically predicting that everything's going to happen and it doesn't make sense. Now, some people have also said that AJ Lee may make a return at Bad Blood to tie into the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre stuff, but as I shall say until the day I do die, if AJ Lee is going to come back to the WWE, it should have nothing to do with CM Punk or somebody else's story. She's a super duper whooper massive star, and her own narrative should be contained within her own aura. Whatever that means, 2 out of 10. I do like this one thing that did pop up, that it would be Raquel Rodriguez who returns to WWE in order to help Liv Morgan and therefore Dominic Mysterio, which would also screw over Rhea Ripley and potentially set those two up for a big match down the line, maybe even at WrestleMania. I think that would be damn good. And there's also a story there because she's teamed with Rhea and she's done stuff with Liv as well. So I'm going to whack a 5 out of 10 on it, mostly because it does kind of feel like it came out of nowhere, but that's still pretty damn good. Other than that though, yeah, we do repeat ourselves for a third time. Because if you have booked The Rock for the show, you can't really do too much else, because that guy, understandably so, is just gonna overshadow everything. It should mean there's loads to talk about after the fact though, which is my favorite thing in the world, and why I want Shane McMahon to arrive in AEW. I know that sounds out of nowhere, but it just gives you a good idea about my brain. I want chaos all of the time, because I am Dr. Robotnik, and given the recent teases, we may be able to get that too. So it's going to be a mad 10 days in wrestling, my friends. Lock yourself in and feel the G's. Now, of course, you may have thoughts, predictions, and rumors about Bad Blood, and I want you to drop me a comment down there and let me know. And if you're right, you can brag until the day the cows come home. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Make sure all the notifications are switched on, including for the mobile app. And you can click this video here, which is ups and downs for Monday Night Raw, to get all my opinions when it comes to the week of Bad Blood. Otherwise, make sure you enjoy the pay-per-view, my friends. It's also starting a little bit early, so it does not clash with the UFC, which is good for me because I am in the United Kingdom. That's neither here nor there. In fact, who cares? Take care, have fun, goodbye.